In 2015, I came across this book, The Power of Your Mind by Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. And you guys, I took that book and I decided to read it. In fact, when you start reading it from the beginning, you will not want to stop reading it because there's so much impact. Oh my God, the words in that book, is so interesting that you just want to finish reading the book from A to Z. And I think I finished reading that book under like 2 or 3 days. And you guys, right then and there, that was when my life began to change. That book is a whole powerhouse. If you have not read that book, I would recommend that book 100%. The name of the book again is The Power of Your Mind, written by Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. Guys, I'm telling you, before I read that book, the way I think, the way I act, the way I behave was not in accordance to the way I want my life to be. But immediately I read that book, that was how the trajectory of my life began to change. I mean, the book taught me that my thoughts, my emotions will create my life. And I started being very intentional with the way I think, with the way I act, with the way I interact with life. Of recent, my sisters told me that, MJ, do you know what? You actually manifested the life you are living right now. And I told them yes. Because I can remember when I was living with my sisters back then, we always said what we want to be when we grow up. We always say the kind of man we want to marry when we grow up. Like, it was fun saying all of that. But at some point with them, they saw like it wasn't too possible. So they started reducing what they used to say. They started just being normal. They started just going with the flow, going with the crowd. And that was how their life went. But as for me, I told them, this is how my life is going to be. In fact, I was so adamant. And they were saying, MJ, life doesn't work like that. But I told them it works like that. And the way I programmed my mind, the way I programmed my thought, I made sure that I achieve what I want. Guys, the power of the mind is real. What you think is real. That is why, listen, I always say this, right? It is not the amount of work you put into something. I'm telling you, there are some people who don't put much work. They put little or even no work to what they do, and they achieve greater things than the ones that put a lot of work into what they do. It has to come from here. If you can hack your mind, if you can hack your thoughts to not think anything negative, to not think anything contrary to what you want to see, right? If you can hack it, that's it. Guys, that is it. I always talk about God in my channel because I love God, right? And because I love God, I read my Bible. And there is verse of the Bible that say, I think I've said this in one of my videos, and I'm going to say it again today. He said, by the renewing of your mind. First of all, you talk about presenting our bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is our reasonable service. Then the second verse, he said, by the renewing of our minds. You need to wake up every day with renewal of mind, because that is where you can be able to achieve whatsoever that you set your mind to do. Because there are some days that you wake up, you will not feel like to pursue your goal, or you feel like the world around you is crumbling. Of course, as far as there is blood in your flesh and your heart is still pumping and you're still living in this world, you will have problems. You will face a lot of problems. Sometimes are better than sometimes, right? The other. But at the same time, As long as you're breathing, you will encounter problems. But if you wake up every day with a renewal of mind, with a mindset that is said, you know what, I am going to achieve whatsoever I set my mind to do. I am going to get that thing that I told myself I'm going to get. See, no matter the obstacle that is placed on your way, you will still reach your destination. I'm saying this because I'm a living testimony. Okay, when I decided to move places, to move from where I was born and brought up, I left my parents, I left everything behind, and I said I wanted a better life for myself, right? At the beginning, guys, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I went through the lowest of the lowest. My eyes saw Jesus Christ. This is another story for another day. But my eyes saw way, like I saw the worst. I experienced the worst. But because of the way I've programmed my mind, because of the way I wake up every day with a renewal of mind, telling myself, MJ, no matter how it gets dark, we are going to achieve our goal. We are going to get to where we are going to. I'm sitting down right here. Well, to God be the glory. I'm not going to say I'm where I want to be, but baby, where I am right now, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I can only just return all the praise and glory to God. And it didn't just happen because I am the most positive person, or I am the most perfect person, or the most prettiest person. No, it happened because I learned to control my thoughts. I learned to control my emotions. Even on the days that I'm crying, I'm in pains, I told myself, I am going to make it. I am going to reach my destination. Even on the days that things were, everywhere was so gloomy, everywhere was dark, and I don't know how I'm going to come out of that. Guess what? I still kept a positive attitude. I still told myself, I am going to make it. I am going to come out victorious. And anytime I sit down thinking about those days, I'm like, MJ, I give myself a pat on the shoulder. Like, you are really strong. Because believe me when I say to most people, they must have checked out. They must have given up. They will say, you know what, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to keep a positive attitude. To most, I'm telling you, that was when I realized that I am a strong person. So guys, in whatsoever you do in this life, if you want to achieve anything you want in this life, be it your dream life, your dream job, or whatsoever, you must, master your thoughts. You must live with a very intentional attitude when it comes to your job. It's not the one that you wake up today because everything is going well. Then you be like, okay, today we're going to keep a positive attitude. Yeah, we're going to, because things are going well. Then when things are going bad, then you switch to negative. No, this is not what I'm talking about. It's when every choosing time, every moment, you keep a positive attitude. You keep a positive thought, especially on the days that you don't even feel like it, on the days that doesn't look good, on the days that everywhere looks bad. Those are the days that you have to be very careful about what you say. Those are the days that you have to be very careful about the thoughts that you think, because at those moments, those are the days that will determine everything. Yes, it's not on the days that everything is going well, because everybody's going to think positive when things are going well. Yeah, everybody's going to think positive, everybody's going to be happy, but not on those days. It's on the days that when things are not going well, things are not going smooth, that is when you think positive. The Bible says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise. Think on these things. In other words, if they don't have virtue, if they don't have praise, if it doesn't come with good reports, and if that means it's saying anything negative, don't you spend 1 minute thinking about it. Because if you spend a second thinking about it, guess what? You start to create it. You start to create it. Guys, anything you want in this life is very possible for you to achieve. But your thought, your mind, because the more you think about it, the more you create it, the more you see it. At so many times I've seen that happen in my life. Sometimes when it happens in real life, I'm like, have I seen this before? Then I'll think about it and say, no. I thought about it before. I don't know if this has happened to you, but it has happened to me several times. It happens like a deja vu moment. Like, I'm like, this thing has ever happened before. But no, it was my thought. I've thought about it. I've created it in my thought already. So if you can learn how to master your thought and emotion, guys, you can achieve anything you want. You can say, MJ, it's easier said than done. I know, but it takes practice. Practice, guys. It's something that you wake up every day to do. Like I said, it's not something that you will do today and tomorrow you choose not to do it. No, you wake up every day to put it into practice. And what did they say about practice? Practice makes perfect. You come to the point in your life that, guess what? The only thing you think about is positive thoughts, is good thoughts, because you have already practiced your mind. Like you have already made your thoughts, you have already trained your mind to only think about positive things, to only think about good things. Okay? So if you keep practicing it every day, you wake up and keep practicing to only think about good things, about positive things, that's how one day you're going to master it. But if you only train your mind to think about negative things, even though you try to think about positive things for a negative situation, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Train your mind, guys. It all starts from here. It's all start from here. So I remain your girl MJ, and if this video makes some type of sense, please do not forget to leave those comments in the comment section below, and yeah, give this video a thumbs up, and yeah, I will see you in my next video.